listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast, hosted by Matthew Laurin, President of ESQ Marketing, where he features successful solo and SMB law firms from all over the United States. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey, I'm Matthew Laurin, President of ESQ Marketing, and you're listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast, where I feature successful solo and SMB law firms from all over the United States. Today I have Jeremy Wise here, who has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs. We flipped the script today, and he will be interviewing me.
Matt, I totally appreciate you having me, and I love always getting on the phone with you because you are a master at search engine marketing and getting the top of Google. So whenever I can be on the call so I can pick your brain, I do that. So I appreciate that. And we're gonna talk about how much does SEO cost? How do you get to the top of the search engines? Before we talk about that, the episode is brought to you by ESQ Marketing, ESQ.marketing, which is the company, and you help law firms generate more clients and cases using search marketing. And you've been doing it for like over 10 years, which is insane if people think of what the internet was 10 years ago. So you've been a pioneer of search engine marketing for a long time. So you get the question over and over, how do I get to the top of Google? How much does SEO cost? So I figured we could start there.
That's a great question. Yeah, and the fast answer that I tell everybody is it depends. Not always the answer people want to hear, but it really depends on what it's going to take to get that person market share in a search engine results page. So every site is different, every niche is different, and then as it relates to the legal vertical, every practice area is different. So some are way more competitive than others, and then as it relates to an attorney's website specifically, every site is different, right? Like some sites are brand new, some sites have had SEO work done to them, others have not. And so it all depends on where that site sits right now and how much work it's going to take to get it to rank for the keyword phrases, and then how competitive those keyword phrases are, how much demand there is for them in search.
We'll talk about some specific examples. So because we will go past it depends and go really deeper into that. But just in general, before we go into the specific examples, what factors are involved? Like what should people be thinking about when, what's it going to take to rank?
So Google came out back in 2016 and said that the top two ranking factors were links and content. There's obviously hundreds of factors that Google takes into account when they rank a specific web page, but those two are some of the leading contenders. So the amount of unique referring domains pointing at a website and the caliber of content that's produced are the two things that attorneys need to be thinking about. So
thank you. I didn't expect such a simple answer. I love that. It's an 80-20, right? Because there's probably a million factors. But what you're saying is you focus on the two top factors that really move the needle. So let's talk about a search term, like an actual search term. So I don't know if you want to share your screen and show what you have there.
I was just sharing it here before. I plugged in a search term for a Chicago area criminal defense attorney, and usually, there's probably search volume for criminal defense attorneys in Chicago, but a lot of people will use the offense in the search term to find a lawyer. So in this case, Chicago DUI lawyer is the one I plugged in here. Before I go to the example, the way I got here was we use a software called Ahrefs where we can track keyword search volume. And anytime we do keyword research and we try to decide which keyword phrases a client should go after, we plug them into this software and we try to see what has search volume. And we try to find a balance between searcher intent and search volume. So if something doesn't have any search volume, then it's probably not worth going after to try to rank for it. And if something does have search volume and it doesn't have purchase intent, also probably not a good idea to go after. It's kind of that magic mix of you want to make sure that the person looking for your services is using a phrase that indicates they want to purchase, or even at the information stage of the funnel. But in this case, we use one with purchase intent. So Chicago DUI lawyer, someone using this phrase is probably looking for an attorney to help them with a DUI offense. And as we can see right here, it's got about 350 searches per month.
That's a great distinction Matt, about purchase intent, because I've had certain people come to me and go, you could rank for XYZ term, it gets searched X number of times. Like, well, okay, that sounds good. But then when you were talking about purchase intent, I'm thinking, oh, who cares how many searches it is, right? You want someone who's actually going to get your services.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've had a big part of my job is education. I've had people come to me and say, hey, I want to rank, number one for this phrase, or I want to show up for the word lawyer, or I want to show up for the word attorney. And yeah, there's tons of search volume for that.
You're like, why?
Yeah, it's an extremely broad
Like, do you want to throw your money down the toilet? No.
Right. Yeah, you have no idea what that person wants. I mean, they may be looking for how to spell the word attorney. They may be looking for pictures of attorneys. They may be wanting to know what an attorney does. So you have no idea what the intent is. And the more, the closer you can get to what the searcher is intending to find, the better off you'll be. So that's how I found the volume for this is in Ahrefs, plugged in the keyword phrase. They gave me the data on what it is. And so I use that example here in an incognito window in Chrome because it doesn't track my search behavior, my search history. And it's not the most accurate way to find out what's ranking first, but it's a pretty accurate way to kind of check on the fly what's ranking. So I plug this in. And
by the way, if someone is a criminal defense attorney or a lawyer and they want to rank for DUI, you should definitely listen closely to this because this is a highly, this is like you were saying, this is search, this is purchase intent.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to rank for DUI-related terms in the Chicago area, this is one of the phrases you'll want to go after, and I'm going to tell you right now why the results on the first page are there, pretty much. And there can be a lot of factors, but in general, we can narrow down pretty closely why the top sites are ranking in the first spots like they are. So the first 4 spots you see here are ads, obviously, and you can pay to get there. And then
they're probably expensive clicks, I imagine.
Very expensive. Actually, the data in Ahrefs shows me that too. So for this particular keyword phrase, you're looking at about $35 a click if you were going to pay for it.
Someone mistakenly clicks, boom, $35 gone.
Yeah, $35 down the drain. So after the page results, you have the Google Local Pack, which is their top 3 local listings for their Google My Business results. So these are the top 3 local listings. And you can also pay to get in here with paid ads, but these are organic ones right here. And then below that, we start to see our first organic listings. Now, the first couple of sites that are ranking are attorney directories. So FindLaw, Justia, those are 2 really popular attorney directories. And the reason these ones show up first is the domains are extremely authoritative. And I can show you what I mean by that, but I want to take an example that's not one of these bigger companies that's been around a while. So I took this, let's look at, it's Catenis Law. Probably not pronouncing that right.
By the way, there is a video. If you're listening to the podcast version, Matt will talk it through, but you can watch the video on their website.
Thanks for that, Jeremy. So I took this domain right here and I plugged it back into the same software, Ahrefs, which gives me a snapshot of this attorney's link profile. So the quantity and quality of referring domains pointing at this website and all the information that goes along with that. So I plug that in here, and there's a lot of data at the top here, and there's some key data that I look at that kind of indicates to me why this attorney might be ranking on the first page for this term. As opposed to other competitors. And some of the information that I pick out first are the site's domain rating, which is a rating between 0 and 100 that gives a quick snapshot of how authoritative the domain is. And to put that into context, a site like Facebook might be at a DR 98. Whitehouse.gov might be like a DR 92 or a 90. And this particular site comes in at a DR 13. So it's not extremely authoritative, but you can tell they've been doing some work to it. The other thing that I look at are the number of referring domains. So he has 110 unique referring domains pointing at his site. And so those 2 things together tell me they've been doing some work on the site, and they're starting to build some, not a lot of links, but a decent amount of links to the site. They have 1,700 backlinks pointing at the site. And then the other thing I look at is their traffic value in Ahrefs. So that's right now they're bringing in about $10,000 worth of traffic value. And what that means is if they were going to try to get the same exposure in organic search without ranking organically for it, they'd have to pay this much to Google on a probably a monthly basis to get that much activity. And so I take these metrics and I kind of look at them and see, okay, this is where this site sits. Now, if you take another competing site, and I'm going to go to the third page here. So third page of Google.
For the same search term, we're looking Chicago term, DUI lawyer.
And I'm going to grab this site. It's Ivan Rueda. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He's a DUI lawyer in Chicago. I take his domain and I plug it into the same software, and I got him pulled up over here. Now you can see a difference here already. So the domain rating is down a little bit. So the first one, I'm sorry, it's exactly the same. It's 13. But the other thing that's down a little bit is the number of referring domains. So this site has 22 referring domains, whereas the site ranking on the first page has 110. So substantially more referring domains pointing at that one. And you can see his traffic value is substantially lower, $135. And the reason that is because he's not ranking on the first page for high volume keyword phrases or keyword phrases that would cost a lot per click to rank on the first page for. So there are other factors at play here. I can see it right off the bat that he doesn't have a security certificate installed on his site. He maybe the content is not as relevant or it's not as in depth as the first page result. But overall, the backlink profile is not as strong as the top ranking site or the site on the first page. We can go even further here too a little bit. If we go back to the first page and we grab one of these top ranking directories, so for example, FindLaw, this is FindLaw's DUI page, so they just have listings of attorneys who are DUI lawyers. I'm just going to grab the root domain and put it into this software, and then you'll see why this one's the first. Oh, sorry. Got kicked out there.
So just to talk through while you're going there. So it's interesting because you have the ads, then you have the directories, then you have the organic rankings, and then it doesn't seem like it's that far off. Like that third page person, it seems like they're almost within striking distance. I mean, it doesn't seem crazy to get to if they do some work.
Yeah, if you dig in a little deeper, you can look at top pages in Ahrefs, and you can see what pages are kind of close to, what pages are kind of close to the first page of Google for various keyword terms, and with a concerted effort of building links and improving on-site optimization, you can move the needle, over time. It doesn't happen instantly, but over the course of a few months, you can definitely move the needle. Yeah. So I put this FindLaw website into Ahrefs, and you can see right here, it's a DR90, substantially more than those other terms or those other sites, and the number of unique referring domains, 14,000 unique referring domains. So pretty much with any legal-related search term, the legal directories like FindLaw, Justia, and some of the other ones, Martindale, Hubble, those show up on the first spot mainly because of this data, because they have so many unique referring domains pointed at them, because their DR rating is so high. They're just very authoritative, very popular sites on the internet.
Are there any other ones besides those? FindLaw, Justia, what were the other ones?
FindLaw, Justia, Martindale, Hubble. Sometimes, let me see here.
So do lawyers typically know to go and get on all of them, or are some of them only on certain ones?
Some attorneys, usually when we start working with clients, sometimes they've already done some of the we call it low-hanging fruit. So joining attorney directories like Super Lawyers, FindLaw, Justia, and claiming your profiles on those. Sometimes they've already done that. But other times we work with clients who maybe they are just getting started and they haven't had a chance to do that, or they weren't aware that claiming the profile was so beneficial. But yeah, I mean, claiming those profiles is one of the first things we do for a lot of clients if they don't have them already, because you can, if you choose a category on those sites and you fill out the profile, every single field that's available on it, you tend to rank in those pages that show up for those keyword phrases. So even if you aren't ranking on the first page, maybe you'll show up in the profile listings of those
Yeah.
directory sites. Super Lawyers was the other one I was thinking of, which is down here further on the page.
Got it. So you were mentioning the difference there. It seemed like those directories had much higher numbers.
Yeah. So they're just much more authoritative. They just have way more sites linking to them, and overall they're just much more authoritative sites, which is why they tend to rank in the top spots, right underneath the local pack. So it's not to say that getting a higher DR and getting more referring domains is going to guarantee you a first page spot or guarantee you a spot over competitors, but in our experience, most of the time when we try to compare why competitors are outranking a site, it's usually because they have more unique referring domains. They have a higher domain rating than their competitors.
Matt, I like that answer a lot more than just it depends, because you could really see it depends on the keyword. Like if you want a certain keyword, it depends what's it going to take, and then what the top people in Google, what it's going to take to kind of overcome them, and the work it's going to take for it could just depend on even a keyword that you're trying to rank for.
Yeah, and as it relates to the question about cost, like if I don't know anything about a site, I'll have to just give wild estimates. And it's like, yeah, it really depends on what the condition of your site is. So if we go back to that first example with the domain rating of what was it, 13, and the person on the third page, you can see, sorry, I got kicked out again. You can see that, to increase the number of referring domains, it's going to take a lot of manual work. So a lot of manual outreach to other websites, emailing webmasters, coming up with unique campaigns to try to get a foot in the door to ask them for a link to your site, claiming attorney directories, claiming social directories, building citations. All of those things take a lot of time. Which translates to a lot of cost. So the fewer referring domains, the less authoritative a site is, the more effort and time it takes to get it to the first page, because you have to increase those numbers. You have to increase the number of referring domains pointing at the site, along with all the other on-site work that it would take to optimize an attorney's website. So once I see that data, I can give a more accurate estimate to them is what it's going to cost on a monthly basis to get them where they want to be. And sometimes an attorney site may have a lot of referring domains already. Maybe it's just a lot of on-site work that needs to happen in order for them to rank better, and it may not cost as much. Whereas on the, conversely, if it's a brand new site and they have no referring domains pointed at it, it may cost several $1,000s a month to get that site ranking, in a 6, 7, 8 month time period.
Matt, where can people contact you? How can they contact you? Where can they find out more?
You can find out more at esq.marketing. That's our site. And you can contact me directly at matthew@esq.marketing.com.
I know Matt has not agreed.
Our site right here.
Matt has not agreed to do this, but I'm going to put him on the spot for a second. He charges a lot of money to do consulting and things, but I'm going to say contact him. He may or may not, depending if he listens to me, do like a free audit or some kind of audit to show you kind of where your specific firm is ranking on all these factors, and actually explain some of the things that you can do. So, you know what,
Jeremy, since if they're listening to this podcast and they mention it when they reach out to me, I will do that. That's something that we usually sell for about $1,500. Is a comprehensive on-site and off-site audit of a website. But if you listen to the podcast and
if you've listened this far, I'm going to say you deserve to get that, I guess. I didn't even realize how much you charge. I figured you did because it's really comprehensive. So
yeah, we do. I mean, we'll do a brief overview when we do a proposal, because it doesn't take that much information to kind of understand what it'll take to gain market share, but the audit is a different animal. It's it's pretty much a blueprint for what you need to do to achieve first page rankings. And so you can take something like that, and either do it yourself, which is a lot of work, or give it to an internal marketing person or a freelancer and say, hey, do all this stuff that Matt said.
Yeah.
And you could achieve first page ranking. So,
or someone who's actually done it before. That always works.
Yeah, there is an artistic style to it. But yeah, if you're listening to the podcast and interested in growing your law firm using search, contact me, mention the podcast, and we'll get you an audit.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
No problem, buddy. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the ESQ Marketing Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.